Yeah, you can come in a little closer.
It's short. Yeah,
Not super loud.
Morning, Alex.
Hey, morning. I have the seventh waste of waiting. I found this quote from an unknown person that I thought was hilarious when I was looking for this, and it says, "Patience is not a virtue; it's a waste of time." And it's like a total boomer quote. It's something my dad would probably say. But it applies to us in a way, right? So patience for this whole process. We need to have patience to roll out everything and to move into the new building and stuff like that. But if you're sitting at the press waiting for parts to come because you've done everything, then that's not the right patience to have. So, I don't know. It wasn't related to anybody, but I was like, that's hilarious. This kind of plays into exactly what this is about. So, first we'll do some shout outs, some Oprah Winfrey shout outs. Anyone have any shout outs? Chris, you have a shout out. Let's hear it.
Absolutely. Last night, my son was playing soccer and completely trucked the guy and got a yellow card for the first time in his life.
Nice.
It was awesome.
It's kind of a two-part, but shout out my daughter, proud and shout out. She finished her mom fundraiser for travel softball and she was able to raise $1,000 for her fees and everything and
Wow.
started delivering everything last night. And she also took the time to handwrite thank you notes to every person that bought one to get
Nice.
them. So yeah, it was really cool.
How many people was it?
I don't know. She sold
A lot.
100 some moms. Yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty awesome.
I got a shout out, kind of a proud moment. Bentley completed his first, it was about a 12-inch drop and he jumped off that thing and landed it like a champ. Usually tucking and rolling and stuff, but he landed it and then went on running and did it like 3 or 4 more times. It was awesome. Like parkouring.
How old is it?
He's gonna be 2 on December 8th.
Oh, yeah.
I got a shout out for Ahmad. He
Hey,
figured out how to break the jury duty system. You just don't go, and then you have Kevin call and tell him you speak Arabic. They had to worry about it.
I'll give a shout out to Chris. Where's he at? Chris, yesterday your meeting was great, and then this morning that you keep sending different upgrades and Kaizen improvements out back. I thought that was cool. I'm always moving those things around when I have to cut stuff on the saw for prototyping, so it's cool to have a spot where they go that's not just piled under the saw.
I'll give a shout out to Chandler. He's doing a really good job with the freight orders. He's been working on those for the last couple of weeks.
and he managed to wrestle a huge venomous spider out the door this morning.
I did do that.
It was amazing.
That is fair, Brian.
Shout out everybody using the WhatsApp chat. It's great. I really appreciate it. There's a lot going on in there. It's all relevant. Keep doing it. Pictures and videos horizontal, please.
I
Morgan.
found mine horizontal this morning and I still
Yeah,
got.
so on pictures, when I try to use the like before and after thing, it assumes that they're all horizontal. So like if they're vertical, it's just giving you this much of the screen. And then you can't really control like the automation for when you upload, just let it create it. So you'll get these one like weird zoom in, zoom outs where you won't even see what's going on because it's not part of the picture.
Yeah, I don't know. I filmed it horizontally this morning, but I still got the black hidden, so I guess I don't know why that happened. So I will work on it. But
Only you, my man, only you.
You gotta turn your auto rotate on.
it is unlocked. We just checked that.
Anybody else? So I started with some Kaizen examples from yesterday because there's so many every day that you can almost make a half a meeting out of them, which is awesome. So here was one from Jamie. He had a box of DA pads that are just tucked crooked on the back of his table. He made a little folder for them. Now they're labeled.
This looks like a taco holder and I love it.
It is.
Well, that's the type of stuff. I mean, it's perfect, right? That's now it opens up opportunity for Joe to make something, Ryan to make something, one of us can make something for your wall board at some point,
Yeah.
and it works for now, but now you don't have to wait for us to come up with something. So
And it goes hand in hand with my little DA holder, it's like right there.
Nice.
You have to find your box of discs.
You gotta open your box to get in there. Right?
Yeah, it's right there, you can grab it.
and that's what we're finding next door is like finding a place for something is great, but if it's not the right place, then it doesn't matter. So
That's
Like
why I
we-
tack everything in place.
so you can break it.
I can break it.
We hung the creeper next door and we rarely use it because there's lifts next door, but from time to time the lifts are full. So there was a conversation next door yesterday before we hung it on where to put it, right? You don't want to, doesn't really make sense to hang it on the side of the lift because you assume if you have a lift, you're not on the creeper. So we put it inside the right door and Morgan made a label for it. So now it's hopefully where it should be and we know where to find it every time. So
Nice. Good job, Morgan.
Here's the 4 or 5 bolt packs over there that I saw a couple people working on yesterday. I think I saw Ben for sure. I don't know who else was involved, but they got straightened out and I saw them vacuuming on the shelf behind, which I don't think has been done since they were put up. So thought that was cool.
Hey.
Here's an example of an improvement. The bare land on our new property now has a pole structure up for the steel building for the storage. It wasn't that long ago that that was just a hill with trees on it, so they're moving along. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but the drills bugged me next door, and I kind of screwed this process up because, like earning the right to digitize your Kamishibai board, I saw that there was a problem, and instead of Jamie could have tacked something together faster and made a hanger for it, but I'm faster at just going and drawing something and having Bryce cut it. So I, this was Wednesday, Tuesday morning, I took the picture on the left. I spent my 3S time drawing that, and then after 4, when Nick left yesterday or Wednesday, I done it up and powder coat got it to me quick, and now we have this. By Daryl, by Cameron. Now we have a solution for the chargers were all piled and tipping over and falling down into these dirty rags. That there's another improvement that can be done. And now everything hangs up. It's got a spot. All the cords run behind.
The big thing is to not get caught up on like the end product, to make progress on it, right? When you guys sit and fester on like what it could be or what it should be, and you compound, then you build this very hard to action on project. That becomes, a multi-tier project, where if you just start and then make an improvement on that, you eventually get to where you're going, but you don't wait to do a giant project because you can start on it.
And I noticed that while I was doing this, big credit to Joe and Ryan because not overcomplicating the crap out of all this stuff, especially the Fat American stuff, it's really tough. I mean, from a design standpoint, what we've been doing lately, it's hard to not just sit there and think of what else, what else. You just got to do it. And I limited myself to that first 3S day, 20 minutes. When I got done taking the picture and going and finding it, I was like, I have to just get this done. And whatever it is, I'll probably get made fun of from Daryl, which I did. It was all flimsy, so I had to add a piece of 1x1 underneath because I rushed it through. But
I think the other thing is, it may not be exactly what you need, right? So to Brian's point, start small, start with something, see if it works, and then build, and then you might find other things along the way that funnel into that as well. Yeah.
Researching.
go ahead.
Well, I'm like, that same slide for too long, but like the rags that you see on the floor right there, are something that I kind of noticed when I take pictures and things. A lot of those are things we just live with on a daily basis. You might not notice them when you're, again, just working on something up here on top of the toolbox. When you take that photo and kind of like review the area as you look at it, you do see those little things that pretty well.
There was another Kaizen improvement that I thought was super awesome. Joe put together our station finally.
Oh, I thought that was actually on the wall.
It lives over here. Morgan labeled it, which is great. Thanks for following us around and labeling everything that we. What's that? Well, I added it here so that Ahmad, because I'm sure Ahmad and his brother are just confused on what that even is.
So the idea with the Kaizen table or cave is essentially to start adding the things we need to make improvements. So if there's things that you're missing for improvements, make suggestions and we can potentially add it to it. Right now, it's like zip ties and GPS tape and Velcro dots, and then the Kaizen foam on the bottom. There's some magnets in there, so.
Can we just go to that and use it?
Yeah, anything on there. There's Kanban cards in there. The Kanban cards are to when it's out. So when it's out, we're out. We'll just reorder it and have it in a couple days.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole idea is that these are all things that you can work on for improvements. So if there are things that you need, like, hey, we need a circular saw, or it'd be nice if we had this or that. That's what I mean by suggestions on it. Because at that point, we'll just continue to grow this thing out. And eventually we'll have this giant area that has all the things that you guys need for improvements. They're working on some coupons, some like just metal shapes that you guys can then grab from and weld and tack together. Instead of having to just look through scrap and stuff.
Okay.
So some of that will start to come as well. But that's kind of the idea behind it.
So feel free to utilize it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
which we already started that yesterday. Joe sent this photo in the chat and Brian immediately zoomed in really close on everything that was on there. And then within minutes, we had a zip tie bucket over there. So
If, the other thing is that the Kaizen foam, it's not like it's cheap, it's like $150 a sheet. So I just wanna make sure that we're, like, I wanna use it, but I wanna use it, like. If I'm gonna make you guys a wall grid, put all your tools on, we obviously don't need the Kaizen foam, your tools, right? So just ask, I guess, maybe, hey, is it cool if this is what I have in mind, cause. You know, Jamie was asking the Kaizen foam a drawer, which we may have already thrown the toolbox away at this point.
No, I forgot. And
Okay,
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
For sockets, like little sockets and tools and nail punchers and stuff.
yeah, so, yeah, we're trying to roll out things where it puts all your tools, hangs all your tools, even for like the brake press. We're working on a die system to hold all the dies, but also hold all our tools, right, so. The Kaizen foam's there, don't, if you can't use it, just ask, right? File the project before you do it, just so we don't be wasteful with it.
Yeah.
So like I said, my topic is the seventh waste, or what we're calling is the seventh waste waiting. And that they define it as staying where one is or delaying until a particular time or something else happens. Everybody kind of knows what waiting is, but when it's put like that, it kind of makes you realize that even the little things are waiting. You know, it's common practice. I keep picking on Nick because the press is what I am around the most, but when Nick has to load goosenecks and I have to bend prototypes, you wait, or you use the small press. I mean, it's part of the process. It takes a lot of time. They're heavy. They're a pain in the butt. And I mean, that is essentially me going upstairs and staying where I am, or going and finding something else that I don't necessarily need to do and waiting until, or potentially even a day, right? Or waiting till the end of the day till Terry's not busy on the other press or whatever. There's waiting that's going to happen. The goal of this is not like all the waste, right? It's not to eliminate them. It's to minimize them. So that leads into the consequences of waste. So what happens when you're waiting? The first one they call out is extreme boredom, which I don't know that we have extreme boredom around here, but maybe extreme annoyance. If you're waiting for a certain thing over and over and over again, it becomes annoying, especially when you have to do it weekly or daily. Loss in capacity, we've seen that. That's kind of not entirely because waiting, but this building causes us to have to wait in certain instances that make us lose capacity. We can't bend as much as we want to bend if one of the presses is tied up, or if all the welders are making bumpers and we have no time to make skids. I mean, you're waiting, the customer's waiting. And it causes a loss in capacity overall. Counterproductive overtime. It was funny, the video I was watching called this out. It's like, employees don't see, employees love overtime because the money goes up. But ultimately, when you're waiting for something which causes other people have to come in overtime to make up those hours, it leads into the fourth one, which your price of your operating costs and the price of whatever you're making goes up because the person that made it costs more money to make it. So if that is because of an uptick in sales and a low amount of employees, great. If it's because you waited for 2 hours of your 8-hour shift and then you have to come in on Saturday to finish it, that doesn't help anybody really. And even the employee that's getting the overtime in the long run isn't helped by waiting around and essentially milking the clock without even trying. So causes, like I said, I have a couple examples on the right and I'll explain those. Long setup and changeover time is the first one that they call out, and that could be everywhere. I had Nick send me a picture of the goosenecks yesterday because I know they just rot Nick in his sleep because they're heavy, they suck. There's not enough products anymore that use them. So it's really just, I mean, it causes waiting for everyone around him and then waiting for him if there's a part that needs bent on part of that job that needs those dies, it puts him in a weird pickle where it doesn't make sense for him to take them out. I was trying to think of other ones. Does anyone else have? I mean, changeover time, the fixtures, right? Waiting. If we have two fixtures that are being used upstairs and somebody's jumping jobs, especially with one piece flow now, it might be one welder's doing a bumper and finishing it up, and then the next day, somebody else needs that same fix. Go ahead, Jamie.
That's off the price for this, but waiting on a missing part.
Yeah.
Like you're in the middle of a bumper, you come across like shit, I'm missing one part.
Yep.
He's been really kicking ass at getting us the part like that day within a couple hours. So
that's a great example of minimizing, right? We're never gonna eliminate that. Stuff's gonna happen, the press is gonna mess up parts, the laser's gonna mess up parts, stuff's gonna get lost, especially small stuff. But when Bryce can have it to you in ideally minutes, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at some point when the laser has multiple materials, it will be minutes. Right now it might be an hour, it might be hours if we're super slammed, but nonetheless, that's still waiting.
Yeah.
So
But usually you can continue on the bumper as he knows what he needs to do, and then by the time you're ready for it, like absolutely need it, he's already got it for you, so.
I think we're pretty good as a
Yeah.
whole about changeover time too and setup time. I mean, everything is kind of quick and efficient. I mean, our jigs are big, bumper jigs are large and they're annoying to get up and down from where they are now, and a storage solution would be more ideal, but I feel like we're making strides towards lowering that specific cause. Another one, unbalanced flows and poor synchronization. I feel this one in engineering a lot. It could be a matter of, at 4 o'clock, you need to export your prototype that you're working on. You get distracted, busy doing something else. You thought you put it in for Bryce to cut. Bryce switches materials the next morning, and then all of a sudden you missed your window without him having to go find a chunk or pick a sheet, or Chris and Nate having to go outside and find a specific sheet. Because Bryce is bad at telling us no, thankfully. I mean, if we miss the window, he'll find a way to make it happen. Thanks to Chris and Nate as well for getting that stuff put. I mean, we're pretty liquid now. But that's all wasted time. I put my Kamishibai board up here because my two projects are at the top and they're both stuck at install asset. So one of them is a side accessory panel for a GX 550, the new GX next door. I missed the window. I thought for like 2 days that I put little spacers that we need them for in this cut. And so I waited a day and I went down and checked and I couldn't find Bryce. So then I went and worked on something else and I went back down. Anyway, my project and the install guy getting a Gemba dock made for both of those products, I dropped the ball on getting the part where I needed to at the time, and then I missed the window, and then I waited, and both of these things could have been done Tuesday. So, Casey? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Chris and Nate identify that something's missing.
It's already been, it's already there, so you have to add break rest time onto that, plus cleaning time, plus meat cutting it. It takes. It's wasted time.
I got a good example of so the guy that created Gamma Docs, I talked to him yesterday, I emailed him about a problem we were having. And within 4 minutes, he had sent me a video of, hey, Jamie, hey, thanks for letting us know. We're gonna look into this, let us know what
Wow.
devices it's happening on and all that. And he did not waste any time getting back with me at all. And he said, yeah, we'll have this taken care of. We'll let you know how it goes. And it was just really impressive how fast he got back with me.
That's lean customer support.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Any of these lean companies you deal with, they're waiting to respond. It's pretty wild.
It was incredible. And he's a super nice guy.
It's like watching some of the videos too. It's like we feel like we're getting our shit together, right? Things look great around here compared to what they have, and then you watch a video and you're like,
We got along pretty good.
The third one I have is functional layouts. I did my best crappy drawing on Google Images down here, but that was my best spaghetti drawing of a piece of metal from showing up on the Alro truck to leaving on the FedEx truck. And it comes in, I mean, I don't gotta walk through this, you guys know the process, but nonetheless, that's all the arrows, and I probably missed a few of how much a piece of metal moves, and that's assuming nothing went wrong with it and everything went perfect, which happens some of the time. So, oddly enough, I looked up this morning, I was looking up a picture to add to this for spaghetti lean, I think I typed in, because I was going to look up some diagram to compare this to, and the first Google thing said, is spaghetti good for lean? And the result said whole grain pasta and low sodium marinara sauce is great for going lean. So I didn't get the picture that I wanted, but I laughed and almost crashed my truck.
Wow.
Here's one more example of waiting that I added on my way in this morning. It's me and Ahmad. We've been a lot better lately. Where's Ahmad at? This is me and you, and this is me making you wait for, I don't know, on and off for 2 years. But I got, hello, can you come please? And I said 15 minutes and he said thumbs up. And then he said, hey, can you come? And I didn't respond. Hello, hi, coming. I'm eating a late lunch. I can come after. Okay, he's waiting. Then this was from March. Hello, can you come please? Hello, hi, come, please. I'm in a meeting. Give me 20 minutes. Okay. Hello, hi, can you come please? I make them odd weight a lot. I feel like these are all from 2020. This is February of this year, but anyway, we're getting better. So solutions, we called out what causes it. I mean, that's the three major ones. Obviously, there's a lot more causes of waiting. But if you can isolate the main three, I think it will take us a long way. So number one, the mindset. I put a picture of a baton handing there. The lean principle is the customer's the worst person to be waiting, and whoever's next in line to you is your customer. So this made me think of a few things, and I did some more research because it's a great practice for us, right? I mean, the brake press is machining's customer, fab is the brake press customer, and so on, all the way up to the front, and then ultimately Corey and Chris are talking to the actual customer, but that customer suffers from waiting and all the levels below that. So it's kind of like a pyramid, and unfortunately, or an upside down pyramid. And unfortunately, the customer is the one that has to wait for all of us customers to deal with the person before us. So if every time you grab something, every time you're working on something, whatever you're doing, if you teach that or treat that like the baton, I mean, we're not sprinting, right? But if you pass that on to the next person, complete and efficiently and quickly without dropping it, that's going to be the best result for everyone, and it's going to minimize the waiting between steps. Identify. So that's another big thing they call out in all the lean podcasts and videos is make it visible. Don't, if you're annoyed and you're standing there, we got to uncover the waste of waiting instead of being annoyed, bottling it up, moving it on, trying to handle it internally. A lot of times the best way to handle it is to call it out. So send a video of, hey, this is what happened. This is why I'm waiting. This is the second time it's happened this week. I mean, obviously, if you're waiting for the bathroom, that's one thing. But if you're waiting because a part is missing out of a bumper again, maybe the DXF is missing from Bryce and he doesn't even know it. Maybe the engineer missed the part, so the bumper's cutting and Bryce has to cut the part after because we forgot to put it in the file. If you're waiting because of the process, take a video, take a picture, take notes, try to figure out why. And if you can't figure out why, share it with the chat, and maybe a few people can figure out why the waiting's happening, and we can at least try to get it to a lower waiting time. Some things are not going to be able to be eliminated, like I said, but if we can minimize the waste of waiting. So this is the three that they called out. It says walk the Gemba and take notes. I thought that was funny. Gemba is Japanese for the act. It actually translates to the actual place. But they're referring to wherever you are. So if you're at work, your professional environment, wherever you are, they call the Gemba, and it says walk the Gemba and take notes. So maybe, if Nick's missing a part, I use that same example. If Nick's missing a part every time the brake press, or if a welder's missing a part every time a bumper shows up, and they have to walk to Bryce and ask why the part's missing again, or walk and tell Bryce that the part is missing. Walk a little further and figure out if it got lost at the laser, or if it's on some other part, some other skid, or if the engineer, I mean, if you see an engineering passing, say, hey, I'm always missing this damn part. Is this, it's just getting it out there instead of just being annoyed and sitting around waiting for it to cut is not ever going to fix it in the future. Like I said, record the process with a video. We have WhatsApp now. It's a good place to call that out. I mean, it's important to not feel like you're being called out, right? If you're waiting for something over and over and over again, even if the person that's making you waiting feels bad about it, it's better to just figure out why that keeps happening and get rid of it. Value stream mapping. That one is a little more in depth, but it's kind of
That's the rabbit hole you went down?
yeah, I got deep. That's more, I mean,
That was tough.
what's
That's
that?
literally taking sticky notes on a wall and writing out everybody's movement, everybody's steps, everybody's process through an entire building operation. And then at that point, you start to see how things are overlapping and people are doing the same things. Dude,
So like a beautiful mind board where you got.
Oh my God.
I didn't want to leave it off because it's complex, because I know all of us are in the podcast, all of us are looking at videos from time to time. I wanted to put it out there so you've seen it once. If you do see, I mean, it doesn't have to be Brian and Kevin value stream mapping the entire company. It can be you value stream mapping your day to day. And there may be value there if you want to look into it.
everything in Japanese, they do everything visual. So it's visual indicators. So for them, the value stream mapping is easy for them to lay it out and look at it. Mentally, a lot of people can picture things pretty well. You could look at a process and move it around in their own mind as opposed to doing a value stream that way, but yeah, that's a. If I see anyone doing that, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna walk away, I guess, because let me know what you come up with. He knows what he's doing.
The third solution they said is understand. It's kind of also a complex solution, but balance the workload as much as you can. That's kind of up to all of us, right? The throughput we talk about all the time is it's not just anybody's sole responsibility, but if you're being conscious of the person ahead of you as your customer, if you're being conscious of the person you're getting the stuff from, and you see some way they can improve or balance things out, call it out, put it somewhere so we can talk about it at least. The big one they stress in this as a solution to waste, eliminating or mitigating wasted waiting is building the just in time instead of building the forecast, which is what we've been talking about since the start of this. We're trying to pull as the need happens instead of pushing inventory up here, pushing inventory to the customer, pushing inventory through our processes. So just naturally by building stuff and making stuff as it's sold or as it's needed, you eliminate a lot of the waiting time that comes with pushing batches of things up through the building. And then SOPs. And I think we've all seen the benefit of those already. If we keep pushing those out and at some point get to a spot where everything that a fabricator touches, everything that I guess any of us touches has an SOP, it weeds out and gives us the opportunity to weed out the waiting time. Because we can update them, because we should be updating them. If you see something that causes a wait, maybe Jimmy making an SOP for a bumper is something that makes him realize that something is missing or something could be different like he has. And the waiting time or the waiting, a line at the belt sander, hopefully we avoid that always. But if there's multiple people fixing stuff that could be fixed ahead of time, you're just eliminating waiting every time you do really any Gemba doc or any SOP. Anyone have any questions? Sweet.
Oh, baby doing.
He's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. He's healthy. He's awake a lot. A whole lot. Upcoming events, Bradshaw's tomorrow for untapped employee potential. Bryce is Monday for value, non-value. Ryan is doing Be the Customer on Tuesday. And then Casey will do Plan, Do, Check, Act. I knew that. I had that written. You got rid of my cheat code. On Wednesday, Cameron's Thursday. Cameron will be in town, and he's doing Muda, Murrah, and Murray, and Tim is doing Respect on Friday. So that's all I got.
Good job, Alan.
Thanks.
We get the meeting tab. Behind the red.